Guy Madison, born Robert Ozell Mosley in 1922 in Kern County, came from a life far removed from Hollywood glamour. Growing up during the Great Depression, his early years were shaped by simplicity, hard work, and modest expectations. Acting was never part of his original plan. Instead, he studied agriculture and envisioned a future connected to the land. Like many young men of his generation, his life took a turn with World War II, during which he served in the United States Navy. That experience instilled discipline and quiet strength, qualities that would later define his on-screen presence. His entry into Hollywood was almost accidental, discovered while on leave, a reminder that life sometimes shifts direction when least expected. What followed was not just a career, but a transformation from an ordinary young man into a recognizable face of American cinema, admired for his calm demeanor and natural charm. Rising to fame in Hollywood's golden age, Madison's early success came quickly after his debut in Since You Went Away, a film that resonated deeply with wartime audiences. His clean-cut image and understated style made him an ideal figure for the roles Hollywood was eager to promote at the time. He continued building his career with films like Till the End of Time, gradually earning recognition despite initial doubts about his acting experience. His most defining role came with The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok, where he portrayed the legendary lawman. The show became a cultural phenomenon, reaching millions of households and making Madison a household name. Children admired him and adults respected his steady, heroic persona. Yet, like many stars of that era, his public image was carefully crafted, polished, consistent, and designed to meet audience expectations. Behind that image, however, was a more complicated and deeply private life that few truly understood at the time. Love, marriage, and personal struggles. At the height of his fame, Madison married Gail Russell, a talented but deeply sensitive actress known for her work in The Uninvited. Their relationship appeared glamorous from the outside, but it faced significant emotional challenges. Russell struggled with personal issues, and the pressures of Hollywood only intensified them. Madison tried to be supportive, but the strain eventually became too great, leading to their separation. He later remarried Sheila Connolly, and together they built a family, welcoming children and attempting a more stable life. However, the demands of his career, including frequent travel and long periods away from home, created distance in this relationship as well. These experiences reflect a broader truth about life in Hollywood during that era. Success often came with personal sacrifices, and maintaining relationships under constant public scrutiny was rarely easy. A career beyond borders. As the popularity of Westerns in America began to decline, Madison adapted by taking his career overseas, particularly in Italy. There, he found new opportunities in European films, including the growing genre of spaghetti westerns. While these productions were sometimes smaller in scale, they allowed him to continue working and reach international audiences. His willingness to adapt showed a quiet resilience and dedication to his craft. He approached his roles with professionalism, regardless of the setting or budget. Over time, he became a familiar face not just in the United States, but abroad as well. This phase of his career demonstrated that success is not always about staying in the spotlight, but about evolving with changing times. Madison's journey reflects the importance of flexibility and persistence, qualities that helped him sustain a long and varied career in an ever-changing industry. Living a private life in a restrictive era, behind the scenes, Madison lived in a time when personal identity was often expected to remain hidden if it did not align with societal norms. Hollywood's studio system maintained strict control over public images, and many actors felt pressure to conform in order to protect their careers. In later reflections and biographical accounts, it has been suggested that Madison experienced relationships that he kept private, navigating them with caution and discretion. Rather than focusing on speculation or naming individuals, what stands out is the broader environment of the time, one where many people in the entertainment industry had to live carefully guarded lives. These circumstances required emotional resilience and a constant awareness of how personal truths could impact professional opportunities. Madison's story, in this sense, becomes part of a larger narrative about the challenges faced by individuals in an era that offered limited acceptance and understanding. The emotional cost of secrecy. Living with such boundaries often came at a personal cost. For many in Hollywood's golden age, maintaining a public image meant separating their private selves from their professional identities. This could lead to feelings of isolation and internal conflict. Madison's experiences, as described in later accounts, reflect the quiet strength required to navigate such a life. There were moments of connection and companionship, but they often existed within limits imposed by the world around them. The need for discretion shaped not only relationships but also everyday interactions. While audiences saw confidence and charm on screen, the reality behind it could be far more complex. Understanding this context helps us appreciate the human side of figures like Madison, not just as actors, but as individuals living within the constraints of their time. Later years and a quiet legacy. After decades in the industry, Madison gradually stepped away from acting and chose a quieter life in Morongo Valley. Surrounded by nature, he found peace away from the spotlight, focusing on simple pleasures and personal connections. Even in retirement, he remained connected to his fans, attending events and reflecting on his career with humility. In 1996, he passed away at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy defined not only by his roles, but by the way he carried himself, with dignity, professionalism, and kindness. His contributions to Western films and television remain appreciated by audiences who remember him as a symbol of a particular era in entertainment history. Remembering the man beyond the image guy, Madison's story is ultimately about more than fame or film credits. It is about a man who navigated success, personal challenges, and the expectations of an industry that often demanded conformity. His life reflects both the opportunities and the limitations of Hollywood's golden age. While his public image was that of a classic leading man, his personal journey reminds us that every individual carries experiences that are not always visible. By looking at his life with understanding and respect, we can appreciate not only his achievements, but also the broader human story behind them.